Welcome to the Escape with Nick and Adam. My name's Nick.
Hello, Tokyo. My name is Adam. What's going on?
Welcome to the Escape, where we talk everything entertainment, sci-fi, comics, action figures, pop culture, and everything else nerdy. Adam, we have a jam-packed show because we didn't have a show last week. So, yeah, Adam was a little under weather, and it was Valentine's Day. So, yay.
Yeah. Hey, what about your list of power couples?
Oh, I forgot about that. So we do what? Do we want to stick it? It's like the longest applause in history.
I know it's still going.
Stop it! Yeah, we can do that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, let's
do
do
we
it right
want to do
now.
comics?
Uh,
Comic power couples, or
that's what I was going with.
yeah, okay.
I never narrowed mine down, but I got a whole damn big list of it. Why don't you go first? Oh, I got a good one too. Okay, good.
I'll stick with my favorite, and it's a little. They were a little bit on the rocks, a little off and on, but one I definitely enjoyed. I don't know if it survived because I fell off the comics back in the day. I'm gonna go with Grunge and Roxy from Gen 13.
Rock on. Okay, very good. Very good.
That was one of my favorite ones because Grunge was an idiot, and so was Roxy in her own way. So they were just kind of one of those like. That seems like that's one of those things that they kind of nailed as like as a teenage couple. Be like, I see this every day at school. Yes, I understand what's happening here.
And his eyes were always on Caitlin, but he was like, "Oh, babe, what did I do wrong?" You know.
Right. But yeah, that was one. Yeah, Gen 13, one of my favorite comics when I was younger. One of my favorite comics. It's still going to go in like my top 5 all time. I don't care what happens. I don't care if like tomorrow the best comic ever comes out. It's still like I don't know. You just got that soft spot in the old nostalgia trunk for me. So
I agree with you 110%. And you know who else does? I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again just to remind people of how cool she is. Megan Fox agrees with you.
Who's apparently single again.
Doesn't matter. Guy probably didn't like Gen 13.
Say just throwing it out there, Adam. She's on the market.
Right. But that's just neat. It was neat to hear a celebrity in an interview talk about. When I was a kid, I really liked this comic book, Gen 13. I was
like, right.
So
it is kind of funny, just like because it not a ton of Image stuff got a lot of notoriety. Basically, besides Spawn, I think really hit the pop culture thing. But anything else like pop culture related that got into Image, it's like you know about that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so since you went with your favorite one, I'll just throw my favorite one out there too, and then we can like maybe I don't know, we'll do our honorable mentions and our like obscure weird ones after. Sound good?
Yeah.
I'm going with Green Arrow and Black Canary. I love that dynamic. I didn't even I knew they were a thing later in life, kind of a thing. It's not like I grew up knowing that Green Arrow and Black Canary were like this big deal or anything like that. But when I got into my 20s and stuff and found out about them, I just think that that's a really cool. They're just really kind of cool together. Like Oliver Queen to his detriment is always his own worst enemy, and then Black Canary's always got this soft spot for this knucklehead, and she's a lawyer and an independent person, doesn't so it's a good match. It's a match made in vigilante heaven.
Nice. We'll go see if we can get short. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
I'll go with the classic. I think I'll say probably the first Clark Kent Lois Lane. It's probably the longest that's the longest test of time as far as anything, which is kind of nice. And I know like they technically haven't been together forever, but for the most part they kind of kept it together, which is kind of nice. Instead of, I'm sure we'll get into Peter Parker and MJ.
Oh, that's stuff. A good one too.
But the way they're like, oh, they're not together anymore. It's like, why? Like, I know they brought in like Shadowcat, but it's just nice to say like even though I know like there's been some, I don't know if there's been actual comic storylines where like him and Wonder Woman, or if that was just strictly like a fan
New
type of thing.
New 52, Superman and Lois Lane they never wrote it to where they got together. They never
Okay.
got to that point yet. They hadn't gotten to that point yet. But when they brought when they killed New 52 Superman, they left the world the same in DC Rebirth for the most part, but brought back the Superman from the original continuity who was pregnant with Jonathan Kent. So
And we won't go there because we know how Adam feels about superheroes kids.
but like they rebooted everything, right? And I was like, cool, Superman's not gonna have this kid.
Nope.
And then they were like, wait a minute, the reboot's still on, except Superman and his kid. We're not gonna have him have a new one. We're gonna just make the guy we used to write about.
And not with that, we're gonna lean into the kid part. And I was like, what the hell?
I was like,
Come on.
what's going on here?
But
Which
Lane,
really
Clark
sucks
Kent,
because that's a cool Superman.
right? But I think it's a classic. It's kind of the easiest one for me to go to, so I did it. But also, I think just the character of Lois Lane in general was pretty revolutionary for the time because she was a very independent, strong woman, and she was written so. And to go with her equally, obviously in separate counterpart ways with her superhero, husband. So I thought that was
Hey,
always not quite a power play, but it was just good dynamics that they built over the years. So
I too agree with you. That's actually my number 2, Superman and Lois Lane. And
that was low hanging fruit for me. So
yeah, but I mean, your personal favorite, then to your, okay, I guess I got to make, it's like kind of like saying George Washington's not the first president.
right. Who's your favorite president? Oh, George.
George.
7 to pick.
Yeah, Tim Niner,
Timber
President Timber
Johnson Nader
the second. Okay, so yeah, I could go on about Superman and Lois Lane, though. I really liked how I remember how the show Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman,
which is now 30 years old,
which I absolutely hated in my 20s and most of my 30s, but then found an appreciation for it about a year or two ago.
I think Terry Hatcher very underrated Lois Lane.
She was, but it was 90s shtick at its worst.
90s super feminist stuff. So that's why I get frustrated by seeing like, all the feminist stuff. I was like, I've been seeing the feminist shit since the 90s. Like,
but in one moment she'd be like badass, and the next minute she'd be like, oh, crying, like,
right.
And then it'd always be this stupid jazzy like piano.
As super like almost sitcom-y, like bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, it was bad, but in the world that we live in now, where everybody's like hate or whatever, or I hate this, like it's like watching a show from the 50s when you're a kid in the 80s,
right?
But he asks her to marry him, right? At the end of like season 2, I think. No, end of season. I think it was the end of the first season. She says, "Who's asking?" Clark. And she rips his glasses off and says, "Superman." And it was like the big cliffhanger. Oh, she figured it out. It's like, well, he just put on glasses, but.
And Dean Cain, very good Clark Kent.
Yeah. Yep. Very good. Very good both. It was I
thought for the time that was very good casting.
And they did a 2-hour made for TV movie as a pilot. That was neat too.
Yeah.
And they did the old quip. We don't put him in the suit until the very end. You know,
It
that was such
works.
a
It works.
'90s play.
Yeah.
There's
So,
a
all right.
Christmas episode with George and Wheezy though, in season 2.
Is there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
You gotta watch it. It's on HBO Max now, I think.
Oh yeah. So all right. So 3. I don't. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with the other. Stay. Yeah. I'll go Peter Parker, Mary Jane.
All right, my number 3. I can't decide between these two. But it's about power couples, right? And staying power. So Riker and Troy.
Nice. But you talk about one of those like that took forever to happen.
Yeah. And you've been watching Picard, so you've seen Riker's house, right?
No,
In the first season, when they went to his house,
I watched. When did they do that? Because I went. All right. So be
you'd
honest.
remember because he went shields up, and his house had shields.
No, well, it had to be later because we're only like halfway through season
Oh,
1. Because I was like,
I thought you finished season 1. My bad.
no, we were trying, but that's it. Yeah, we'll get to that, but
Riker's house is cool.
yeah, Troy and Riker. Yeah, that's one of those. That's how many. That took forever to freaking happen.
Yeah, I mean, and then they got married in Star Trek Nemesis, I think.
Is that Nemesis?
Yeah, it wasn't Insurrection.
No. Yeah,
So,
I'm trying. I'm getting the scene confused.
so that
Generations where they're on the ship. That's okay.
oh yeah, that's right. When they're on that pirate ship and we're on the holodeck and Worf was getting promoted.
That's
This is some nerd talk, guys.
we're going deep into the nerd files for Star Trek, but it's been a while since I've seen Nemesis. What do you think of Nemesis? Nemesis gets a lot of hate.
I watched Nemesis as a result of Picard, and I really enjoyed it, but not because of Picard. I watched it to prepare myself for it, and I was watching Star Trek First Contact in 1996, and I was hooked on the Borg and all that stuff. So by the time Nemesis comes out, it just wasn't edgy enough for me back then, I guess. But with a new set of eyes, looking back on it, I like it better than Insurrection. I'll tell you that.
Well, Insurrection is dog shit, and
Really?
knows it.
Really?
Not a fan.
Someone
summed it up for. I forget who it was, but it's basically like a glorified TV episode. And that's
I agree.
How it, and that's I was just like, as far as like movie stuff, I was like, as far as new generation, it's by far. I want maybe dog shit, but the most. Yeah, we'll pass on this one. Nemesis. Yeah. I think there's a lot to like about Nemesis. I mean, you have a young Tom Hardy as Picard.
But that was Tom Hardy. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then, but as a send off for the Next Generation crew, I think that left a lot to be desired, and even the way they even, they dated Dine, but also they had the other clone? I don't know if it's a clone or a copy of Data at the end, and they how they kind of played up the last scene where it kind of lines up with one of the first scenes where they introduced Data. I thought that was kind of nice. But as far as the send up for the Next Generation, I think it left a lot wanting. So
I think if you enjoy season 1 of Picard even a little bit, it makes the movie better.
Right. Well, and that was one of the things they did try and right after, that does stay in continuity. But yeah, this
makes you really mad at J.J. Abrams, though, doesn't it?
There's a lot to be mad at J.J. Abrams for besides Star Trek.
But here's my point, though. Like, he's a movie producer.
Right.
He's also a reader, so he has insight just the scripts and all that kind of stuff, and he knows people in the business. So he must have known that the Romulans would be an important key in moving forward in Star Trek.
Give me 1 second. I have to yell at my dog.
Okay. He's yelling. Get him. Get him.
All right. He's playing with the cat, but also chewing on something.
My point is
sad.
that
He's emotional. He gets emotional. When I
why is he doing what he's doing?
He's playing with. We have a young cat, and he's the youngest dog in the house, so they kind of team up and play with each other a lot. But he's 80 pounds, and the cat's not 80 pounds. So
The cat's not.
I mean, he's heavy, but Blue's a big boy. So we have another older dog, Boomer. They were playing, and Blue does this thing where he turns really fast. Well, he did that into my knee just after I heard it at jiu-jitsu, and I thought, I was like, well, that's it. I can't walk again. And then it was fine, but I was like, an 80-pound sledgehammer hit me in the freaking knee. I was like, oh my God. So, but anyway, getting back to your point,
sir. Kind of, we were discussing Star Trek Nemesis.
Star Trek.
Yeah, we were just discussing Nemesis. J.J. Abrams. Did he feel that he had to destroy Romulus or whatever because he felt it was a sticking point for and in turn destroy
that sticking point of that point of just the whole Romulan? I never quite like why is this such the focus of? I don't get it. I mean, and Adam, one of the things we don't really get into this show is like real world stuff because we think the escape is important. But there's a lot of parallels that you can kind of draw to where, real life parallels if you want to draw. And I think they're kind of leaning a little too hard into that where it's like, so with Picard coming out and it's kind of gotten the endorsement for Robert Meyer Burnett, who's a fantastic historian as far as Star Trek stuff goes. He's like, look, they did that too with the original series, but they did it in a much, much better way than basically anybody's been doing, at least for the last decade. He's like, there's ways to do that. You don't have to make it so blatantly like hit you over the head with
hit you over the head with it.
It's like, no, you're gonna like this. Be like, no, this is why we watch Star Trek. We don't want it. This is why we're here, to get away from the real world stuff, and it's just like, no, there's no escape from it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I think, and there's a lot of that, in my opinion, in Picard of, and I just get, we were trying to watch the first season. I'm sitting here, I'm like, can we stop beating the piss out of this character for the love of God? Like, can we stop beating Picard and making him feel like a total piece of shit, like at every turn? Like, even when it goes back to, the Starfleet, and the guy's like, who are you? And it's like, motherfucker. The kid's like, oh, he's like, that is Jean-Luc Picard. Like, don't you say that, like, who are you? I'm just an idiot, a-hole teenage kid. Be like, oh, I hate you. There's a lot of things I was just like, that was one of my biggest quibbles with, I was like, can he just get the James T. Kirk treatment like he deserves, where he's a freaking walking legend and borderline a rock star, like, in there, instead of being like, oh, who's the old crotchety guy who's just, moping around, like it's like he's some old a-hole, walking around a VA with his, retired cap on. It's like, no, like, can we do a little bit better with, the heroes of Starfleet, please? So,
yeah, no, they gave Kirk some shit though too.
They did, but man, they poured it on Picard, and I'm just like, at every flip and turn, like, holy jeez, I'm sitting here, I'm like, at every point he's an asshole, and finally, and I think they made this point on purpose, because there's a point in episode 1 in season 3 where 7 of 9's given a little bit to Picard, and Riker steps in. He's like, hey, that's the freaking Admiral, man. Like, watch yourself. Like, you're talking to our Admiral.
Oh, and that was in the season 2? Season 3?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just, for once, someone freaking steps in and freaking helps, Picard finally, instead of just trying to make him feel like crap over this stupid plot point that I don't understand. Why it's such an important plot point.
This Romulan thing?
Yeah.
They're still beating up on the Romulan thing in
No,
season 3?
but no. They don't even mention it, honestly. So
oh, you're talking about him being an
Season
asshole
one.
plot
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
Well, you're going to make enemies when you're as diplomatic and as headstrong as Jean-Luc Picard. His name is Jean-Luc, bro.
Or I'm just going to call him JL from here on out and really make it like I'm cool. And I'm like, even my wife's like, can she stop doing that now? I'm like, I don't think that's going to stop.
Wait, who says that? Who calls him JL?
The one character. I'm unprepared.
I'm unprepared as usual. His other number one?
Yeah, the spy character that he has to go get. Raffi. So,
Raffi. Okay.
Raffi played by Michelle Hurd.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Power Couples took us right into Picard, season 3.
Transitions, my friend.
Hey, here's
or Specs Howard for you. Nice segue.
Nice segue, right? Well, let me tell you who my next one was. Who my toss up was, because I said this stays in the same vein. I said I got to go with Power Couple staying power. So if it Tasha Yar and Data would have been
nice,
but unfortunately,
we'll go one step back. They only did it. They did it for a brief period, but I liked the matchup. Once again, I liked Worf. And payment.
Was it Dax?
No, not Dax. Well, yes, Dax, but Troy, Deanna Troy.
Really?
Yeah, they had a brief thing.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
The Enterprise D always seemed like a really nice place to live and be. The original Enterprise and the original show is my favorite. Just seemed like a place you had to work and sleep at.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the thing, though. So that was like, hey, like,
there's
the
evolution
progression where we go like.
I got it. Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's just like, hey, like the Federation, it's kind of got its shit together now, and like, yeah, we're actually exploring instead of having to, fight off the Klingons at every pass. Right. Where you can actually be explorers and all that, but and that was and Robert Meyer Burnett keeps bringing up the point where it's just like it seems like, and this is where we're going to start delineating between things. So you have Kurtzman Trek, right, which is Discovery and the first 2 seasons Picard, and technically all of Picard because he's the executive producer. Where it always seemed like, at least from the original stuff up until J.J. Abrams was. These were the best of the best that you were seeing. It's like, if you were to watch like a war movie, do you want to see like the average soldiers doing average things, or do you want to see like the Navy SEALs doing like the top, tip of the spear stuff, And that's kind of always felt with, they never really said it, but they did say it actually, because the Enterprise was the flagship of the Federation. That was like, if you're on this ship, you had better be the best. And I think
you're the best of the best if you're on the Enterprise.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that they kind of started to lose with Discovery, where it's like, Discovery's like, it just feels like people who are like, yeah, I'm okay at my job, and we're okay with that. We're like, I'm not okay with that.
I really enjoyed Discovery. I liked what they did. And I liked Picard season 1. I wasn't in for Picard season 2 because I just thought, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think there's room for all of it. I get what you're saying. I really liked your point that you made in one of the last episodes where you said that Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek is a vision of these things don't happen anymore because mankind has moved past that kind of talking and past that kind of thinking. I really like how you did remind me of that. But there is a lot I feel, in Star Trek Discovery to enjoy. I really do. And now I want to just get off the podcast and go watch Strange New Worlds and see what's going on with that, because
I've heard mixed stuff on Strange New Worlds. I haven't watched it myself. But this as far as season 3 Picard, that's kind of the first time where it's getting a ring in endorsements from I'll just all the people that I watch on YouTube and everybody who's seen it, from Dave Cullen to Robert Meyer Burnett to Nerdrotic, and I think there's only been a few people who are like, oh, we don't know yet, but there's a handful of people who have seen the entire season and be like, no, it's good. It is Star Trek, it is Gene Roddenberry Star Trek, which and people are even starting to call it just season 3 the Terryverse, which is who is I don't know, I think it's the showrunner for the season is Terry Matalas, and from everything from just how he shot it to he brought his own music guy to score the music, and it's all, I think Neurotic kind of it's like it looks familiar and it sounds familiar, for the older Star Trek, and especially Next Generation Star Trek. So I think the next episode, I believe, should drop in the next day or so.
I'll watch it. Maybe I'll go in tandem and watch the old one too when I can. The move will be finished soon, so.
Yeah, so next episode, Disengage, drops on the 23rd. So that's on Paramount Plus. So, but yeah, and kind of the rumor is that really Jonathan Frakes really just kind of steals the show. And I know we were talking about it earlier, and I kind of had to stop us because sometimes we just get chit chat and we're like, stop everything. It's for the show. This is show stuff we're getting into. And it's kind of funny because one of our favorite podcasts we both listened to and you turned me on to was Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, and he recently had Jonathan Frakes on. So, Adam, what did you think of that?
I mean, it confirms kind of like what I've always suspected about Jonathan Frakes. Like, he's confident and he's not a jerk, right? So, like, I really loved it. I thought he was very candid, but he's so sure of himself in a positive way. You could hear him like talking to the anxiety that Michael Rosenbaum talks about, and he's like, oh no, you're not giving yourself enough. You know what I mean? Like, he's a brave man.
He's very self was it I can't think, I'm not thinking of the right word, but he kind of knocks himself pretty often.
And yeah, oh, you mean self-deprecating? You mean
yeah. I want to say self-defecating. I was like, that's not
right. You're talking about Rosenbaum. But yeah, so Nick and I were talking, if Jonathan Frakes, if you just even had an accidental asshole moment or came, he gave you that look of disappointment, you'd feel it. You would feel it. But on the other hand, Nick,
well, so it's very much like a father. He comes off very fatherly, where like I said, if he looks at you and he gives you the no look, like, I feel bad now. But at the same time, if he gave you the Robert Redford meme where he looks over and goes, yeah, son, be like, I would feel bad as well. I'd be like, I did right in the world today. Thank you, Jonathan Frakes. So,
God, what they could do now? I mean, he's only in his 60s, right?
Well, that's the thing. That is kind of the thing. So they're hoping that, Adam, go watch it. The more people that watch it, hopefully we'll do a little bit more. And one of the things that I was listening to a podcast on, I think it was the Popcast that was on yesterday. I think there was like, if you had to pick a show, like, I know everybody kind of says they'd love to see a Worf show, but how much would you love to see a Jonathan Frakes as a captain, like just really being his chance to actually be a captain,
I blacked out. It was so good of an idea. That's how good that idea was.
Well, and one of the things I don't know. I'm not sure if this got introduced into the
I
first two
want a
seasons,
movie.
but the Titan, was that introduced in season 1 or 2? The ship.
At the end, yeah, I think it was at the end of
Okay.
season 1.
Either way, freaking, and this is one of the nice things.
Oh wait, that was the ship he was the admiral of, right? Riker, the Titan.
right.
Yeah, it is at the
That's
end of that one. Oh
that's
yeah.
that is, hey, whoever does that's a sec. One of the best things about Star Trek is, and it's gonna sound weird, but if you're a car guy, you kind of get it, where it's like you just look, and especially if you're in the sci-fi and you look at those ships, it was like, that's a sexy ship right there.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And it's definitely one of those. It's like, oh, that's that's the Star Trek. Because I know, some of the things they get into with Discovery, where I guess they have like nacelles that aren't even attached to ship. I was like, that doesn't.
Yeah, but that's in the 29th century.
Yeah, but that still doesn't make sense.
It's,
and I know it's sci-fi, but it's like still like, I don't like that.
it's 500 years away from Picard's time, dude.
I know, but I just like my engines attached to the ship. I don't know why that's so much to ask for, but anyway.
See,
I don't want. I was like, but the Titan design is that's a sexy ship there.
for me, they were in that 29th century and they had such an opportunity to make it, and they capitalized on it to make it interesting, but there was just this one giant plot point with some lazy writing that was like, hey, they arrive in a time in the 29th century for reasons, okay?
Because
it's important, okay? And this is season 4, so they get into the 29th century and there's very little dilithium left. And so interstellar travel is not really that possible anymore. Okay? And it's not just for the Federation, but the Klingons, everybody. Because one day, all the dilithium just blew up.
Because the world's running out of gas, and gas
well, yeah,
fossil fuel.
I get that. But not because they ran out of their resource, dude. Because one day, it all blew up. Okay? That's why. That's why. It's not like they depleted the universe or the beta quadrant of dilithium and used it all. Because in Star Trek 4, okay, the voyage home, they figured out how to regenerate dilithium crystals. So they don't have to do that. So one day, out of nowhere, all the dilithium in the fucking universe blows up. And they call it the burn. And there's very little left. And in one episode, you realize that somebody who might have some trauma, had a very bad temper tantrum, and his psychic connection blew up all the dilithium in the universe. And that's when I was like, I don't think I'm watching the next episode. I don't really care.
And I'm out.
I was like, how did all the dilithium blow up? And that's how it blew up?
All right. Quick question. Did I make this up in my head? So remember, I forget which episode or season in the Next Generation where there's the Enterprise D that's got the 3 engines, right? The 3 nacelles.
Yeah, that's the last episode, very last episode.
Oh, is that okay? Did that run off trilithium? Or am I just making that up?
I don't think it rings a bell. I don't think you're making it up.
Because because it's sort of canonish, if you went into the future, wouldn't they be using trilithium at that point?
Trilithium.
We're looking it up here.
Star Trek comes right up. All right. Was a nuclear inhibitor which could stop all fusion within a star by the way of quantum implosion. Star Trek Generations. Yeah, trilithium. It was in Star Trek Generations. Huh?
I say maybe we don't want that. But I was like, if we're in the future, when there's lithium, there's dilithium, and trilithium.
Yeah, it was a trilithium missile he was blowing into the stars to blow them up so that the Nexus would change course and pick him up. Yeah, Sauron. Yeah,
All right. Okay.
good
So
call,
I
Nick.
remember, but it was okay. So it was used for something.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the three nacelle Enterprise D was Riker's ship. In fact, he
Right.
gave
Yep.
clues. We should replay it. He says if you're going to watch Picard season 3, you should watch these key episodes. And something was like the best of both worlds, which was the end.
I thought that what that model was on Picard's desk. I was like, is that a 3 nacelle Enterprise D? But it was just the way that it was kind of angled.
Yeah.
But, I got very excited.
Yeah, Star Trek is damn good. Damn good.
Well, and Adam, how did you even get into Star Trek? How about let's play this because I grew up. I was always, Star Wars. Star Wars. When it comes to anything really nerdy, Star Wars has always been my first love, and I didn't get into Star Trek really. I kind of fell into really liking Star Trek.
So the year was 1987, and
Of course, he knows like the day.
We were living in Warren, and my brother must have bought, my brother did buy a copy of Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, which was the one with the whales. And so I watched every movie that we had, and I had to take care of I was babysitting myself a lot. All right, so I popped it in. I was like, I'll give it a try. This is that boring show that I can never sit through.
Right.
I could never sit through the show, but the movie was cool and I started liking the characters. And so I watched it a couple times and I didn't really understand it as well at all. I understood that, they were kind of in the future. And then 1991 comes by and like I'm in the 5th grade or 1990, whatever, and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country comes out. And I remember, this kid I was in 5th grade with, his name was Philip Barron, goes, hey, do you want to see Star Trek VI in the movies? I was like, yeah, I do. Because I liked that movie. And I saw it, and that was it. That was that that was the first drink was over. Right. I got, I got it all then. And I saw Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, and it was over, man. I was hooked. I wanted to go watch Next Generation after that and figure out what that was, and I still had a hard time, man. It was kind of like learning algebra.
Well, you realize, just going between Star Trek and it's such a completely different animal where you almost, and I think, someone explained it is really what Star Trek was. It's very much like kind of submarine warfare-ish, where you kind of it's much more.
It's like the Navy.
Yeah. It's much more. Just you got to be so on it. Where Star Wars is just like lightsabers and flashes and things, but Star Trek for me, I really didn't start liking Star Trek. Basically, I blame insomnia, because that's the only thing on past midnight or 11 o'clock on channel 50 with just the rabbit ears of the 5 channels you used to be able to just get if you were lucky. And it was just kind of fine, a stupid thing I'll have it on in the background. And then eventually I'm just like, this is amazing.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Just realize this is really, really good. And then, and then realizing it's always the weird connections you make where you're like, oh, like my brother who was older than me, he's like, oh, you like Star Trek, you're a nerd, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. And then one of his friends like Star Trek, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing that's good as when you're the youngest and then one of the older, cooler kids something, you're like, I feel validated. This is amazing.
Yes. Yes. Well, after Undiscovered Country, the next thing I heard is, well, you don't know shit about Star Trek. You have to see The Wrath of Khan.
Right.
I was
the Wrath of who?
What?
the what and who?
God, what a movie. I don't know which one I like better to this day. I don't know.
I think just classically, it's almost like I've given up the fight of what's the best Star Wars movie. But like, okay, I'll concede it's Empire. That's fine. And everybody's like, oh, the Wrath of Khan. Once again, I'll concede Wrath of Khan's great, but you know what's right there with it? The Undiscovered Country is fantastic.
It is fantastic. It is.
And talk about sexy ass ships. You get the Excelsior.
God.
One of my favorite lines in all of anything that's ever been written, where they're the Excelsior
fire apart.
He's like, she'll fly apart. The fly apart. Damn it! It's like,
yeah,
Sulu, you amazing bastard.
And he also has another great line in there where after they figure out that the ship, the cloaked ship, is firing and it's got to operate on gas to do it, and so
the thing's got to have a tailpipe.
Right. So Kirk's like, fire. And then the torpedo hits. And then Sulu, cool and calm, target that explosion and fire. It was great. Oh.
And just even the effects, like just seeing like this nothing and then just, God bless. I'm not sure what company does the effects for Star Trek, because there's nothing and you kind of just see it, and you see, and just how they do the impacts of it just looks so good, because you see nothing and then they see this thing just kind of get hit and then it materializes and then you're like, oh, so
yeah, and no shields.
Yeah. And also talk about one of the best designs ever is the bird of prey. Like, ugh.
Oh, I know.
And like, just cool, and it looks like when you say bird of prey and you look, you're like, that's a bird of prey.
That is a bird of prey. A bird of prey.
So, but yeah, so me, that's kind of how I just got into Star Trek, and just like, and Adam, how much do you hate the Star Trek's better than Star Wars? Star Wars, like, you can like both.
Yeah,
it's okay, because you know what? The only thing that they have in common is they're in space. Beyond that,
they've got nothing in common.
They've got nothing in common.
If the Federation bumped into, I wouldn't even want it.
Well, the joke has always been, where Star Wars takes place is where, the guys from Star Trek would just fly right by. All those little specks that you see fly by in Star Trek, that's where Star Wars happened.
Yeah.
It's just, a Western in space, right? Well, they're both kind of Westerns in space, but yeah, it's just, I always hate, it's just, some debates I just don't understand. Like are you a PlayStation or Xbox guy? I'd be like, you can like both because they're both great machines. Are you an Apple or Samsung? I'd be like, they're both really good. Who cares? I don't get things.
Yeah,
certain things I just don't have the energy for. Be like what you like. God bless you, and leave me alone.
I work with this guy that calls me a Marvel hater every day. I'm like, I'm wearing an X-Men shirt, man. And he's like, yeah, but you always wear Superman and stuff too. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe.
Well, that's one of the other ones. DC or Marvel be like, not even similar. if you actually read the comics, you're like, these aren't even very similar. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like right now, my favorite things are Ninja Turtles. Love it. Don't care. And it's funny you said we had a conversation over the phone. You're like, you know why the Ninja Turtles are so great? Like, because they're so ridiculous.
I said that?
Yeah, because you're like, you can have Mondo Gecko. The character's a bleeping gecko, and you got these Triceratrons running around. You got Bebop and Rocksteady, and no one bats an eye.
I had so much fun with those toys when I was a kid. It was just nothing but pleasure. Those were my most favorite toys, were my Ninja Turtles and my He-Man phase. And then that Ghostbuster phase was good in there, but that only went so far, You could go so much further with the other stuff.
Yeah, you just realized the Ninja Turtles did not stop. Even after the cartoons are like, there's this character and this character, because now that NECA's making all these toys, I'm like, the who and the what? I'm like, what happened? What did I miss? But one of the great things that they're doing actually comic wise is they have the Saturday morning kind of line that IDW is doing for GI Joe. I know Ninja Turtles. I think who else? Transformers. And I picked up the first issue of the Ninja Turtles one. I was like, it's like reading a cartoon, man. Like just that's, I was just like, that was fun.
Good, good. I'm looking forward to picking up Masterverse. I think I'm going to be picking it up next month for sure. So we should get that Motu Revolution soon.
For which
The season 2 to the Netflix show.
oh yeah, I said, what did they announce when that was supposed to come out?
No, the rumors are of July, but
Well, we got a lot. We got a lot to cover in the meantime. Speaking of which, Adam, I know we did not talk about it. The Flash trailer dropped during the Super Bowl. What did you think?
I think they made a really good movie. I really do. Probably made one of their best, and unfortunately, it's there's nothing unfortunate about it. I don't understand. Is Michael Keaton's suit baggy? Have you noticed that? It looked like it was baggy, and Batgirl looks a little baggy here too. I don't know.
It seemed like they did the kind of the modern thing that they're doing with a lot of Batman stuff, especially movie wise, where it seems like they just kind of clunked down a bunch of armor to it, and I don't like that. I like kind of the comic book aesthetic where no, I want it to look like kind of ripped.
Yeah. I don't know. How do I feel? I mean, I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. It's unfortunate that he decided to make the decisions he made in life,
and whatever happens legally, who knows? But
I was never a big supporter of him as the Flash. So
no, but either way, it doesn't sound very good. But one of the things I did notice that I really liked that Flash suit that they had in the trailer. I was not the biggest fan of the version that was in the Snyder cut because it had like that kind of wire, things that looked like kind of almost bungee cord and things together.
Sure.
But I very much like the suit that was in the trailer. I was like, that's a good looking suit for it. So you got Ben Affleck as Batman, you got Michael Keaton as Batman. It's supposed to be a rumor that there's supposed to be an appearance of Adam West Batman. Yeah.
What'd you think of Supergirl?
Supergirl's fine because that's obviously she's what's the Flashpoint Superman? I keep forgetting.
Yeah, but I know she's supposed to be Project Superman or whatever. Right. Okay, I've got things to say about that.
Okay.
The woman that they picked to play the role, Sasha Calle.
Yes.
They cut her hair to that length, and she looks like a Supergirl that they already have in the comics, same color hair. And I think she's the daughter of Clark and Lois in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. But she's not Kara. So it disappoints me that they made her Kara. Because I thought that the whole reason they were going with her is this kind of like aesthetic for Supergirl was to do that. I thought that they were doing something fresh, new. I thought they were trying to, but they weren't. They were just repackaging something. And that's my critique on that. Because I like the character of Supergirl, and I like the idea of other Supermen too. You know what I mean? I love how Michael B. Jordan stood firm on his. Listen, I'm not playing a Black Clark Kent. I'll play Val-Zod. There's another. I like how there's other characters. That's fine with me. So I was interested. Sasha Calle got this, and you don't know much about her. I haven't seen her in a lot of things. I haven't seen her in anything, to tell you the truth. But she was very grateful to get the role. I watched it on the Instagrams, and it was just disappointing to say, yeah, we changed the package, but we didn't change the package. You know what I mean?
We just changed a couple things in the package, and
and and then again,
it's like when people go to the toy store and they see the people that have taken another figure and put it inside of what it's supposed to be, and you pick it up and you're like, that's not right.
Right. And to add insult to injury, she's not even the version of Kara or any version we know. She's Project Superman version of Kara, where they found her and they kept her. And at least that's what it looks like. I haven't seen the movie.
But you not
lazy writing, lazy writing,
but also you get a. So if you're going that route with Superman / Supergirl, so now you're getting an abused, emotionally unstable, just now it's a female, and so just like why, you have it. You can't even get a normal Clark Kent Superman, right? Why mess with the equation so much? Now you've got this as the product that is like, man, if they just would have stuck with the script of Flashpoint, I was like, man, this would have been way easier for, especially with a lot of people who want to make the claims of, Marvel calling it, the MCU, the MCU, where it's like, well, and the rumor was, DC was doing the exact same thing, and that's one of the reasons a lot of things were put out to pasture between Batgirl and then, the things that they were doing in this movie. It's like where you can't get your heroes right, but we're gonna start sex changing everything just to fit what at this point.
And yeah. And now we do find out that Henry Cavill was never coming back ever as Superman. That was just hype for this thing, and that what's his name was hired already to write. He had been writing the script 6 months before.
Yeah, there's so much coming out where you just like these like Warner Brothers and DC. You just look stupid again. You just look like you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Well, I will give credit where credit, not credit, but I'll give the devil their due or whatever by saying they are trying to steer the ship the right way
right now, but
this right, it was all to put Henry Cavill in Black Adam was to make that movie make more money.
Yeah,
and that's why Henry Cavill knew oh, my cape's still in the closet. My cape is still in the closet. He knew he wasn't moving on. He knew it. You won't convince me of that otherwise. Because all of that is he was hired 6 months ahead of time. He knew he wasn't going to be part of it. They knew they weren't moving forward with that story.
There's just so many what
anyway.
Yeah, it just so many were like DC, Warner Brothers. You look like you don't know what the hell you're doing. Again,
they're in the same boat over there at Marvel, though.
Well,
they don't.
Well,
know what?
Here's the problem. At least Marvel's already gone and made the trek back and forth a few times. Like DC can't even get out of the harbor. So.
Right. That's what I was going to say with Marvel, to their credit. They can be like, well, hey, we're screwing up. Let's go back to doing what we were doing.
Right. Which is what they're trying to do. But golly, Adam, let's do a quick game. If you were, let's say it's 1999 again, and we're sitting around talking about top 3 to 5 Marvel villains that you wanted to see brought to the screen. What would be some of the ones you would throw out?
Number 1's Magneto.
And I'll just admit this would be a lot of X-Men heavy stuff. I would say Magneto, Sabretooth. I don't even know if I would throw Thanos in there, but I would definitely probably say Galactus. I would say Dr. Doom.
Galactus and Dr. Doom. That's it. I was gonna go with Omega Red. If we were gonna go with
Omega, it's funny because I thought about that. I was like, I still want to see Omega Red.
Oh.
But how far would we have to get into the conversation before we go Kang the Con?
We'd have to know who he is first.
We'd have to know who he is.
But we are born in the early 80s. People born in the early 70s and the mid 60s or whatever, they know who Kang is.
Sure. But
So
who was going like, we really need to see on screen Kang the Conqueror? No one said that.
we live in a world where we've got Celestials and no Galactus. I'm just saying.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So anyway, that's all we'll talk about for Quantumania. So
Strange New World. I want to see Quantumania. I'm hoping it's good.
See, Adam, this is part of the problem with doing a podcast, because the reason I even wanted to do a show, because it got to certain points with like Marvel and Star Wars, and I'm like, am I the only one seeing like some of this weird shit that's going on? And then you start going like, I'm gonna see what people are saying on YouTube, and that's kind of where I ended up with, and realized, no, I'm not the only one seeing this kind of crazy, nonsense. It really started, like The Last Jedi and all that, where you start going like, is this shit, or is this? Do I think this is crap, or is this actually crap, or is it just me? And then you realize like, no, it's pretty crappy, and there's a lot of other people who kind of feel the same way. But then you realize, I kind of have my takes on it, and that's where I was like, I kind of want to do, something where we talk about, at least get our point of views out there, and that's kind of how this show really came to be, is because I was like, there's only one person I know in my life who wants to go in as hard as this, and it was Adam. And I was just like, there's just so many things where I'm just like, there's got to be stuff better, there's stuff that other fans and other nerds are sitting here going like, that ain't right.
No, and I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, I was dreaming of a time when there would be comic book movies to watch, right? Good ones. And we live in a time where there's really good ones to watch, but I watched them a lot now. And I don't know, man. I think it's time, like the Western, where it's just time to go away, We've said all we have to say about Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I hate these movies, but when you stop making them good, right?
All right. So we're going to our Instagram here. So Bounding into Comics, they put out an article, Marvel reportedly undertaking heavy slowdown of Disney Plus opt-out, Echo and Ironheart seemingly delayed infinitely. So this was
Echo and Ironheart are seemingly delayed indefinitely.
Yeah.
Echo, so I'm a little disappointed about.
Not canceled, but it's like, they're gonna try and retool it and see what they say. So this is kind of what I said to the point. We'll see what you think. So, is there superhero fatigue? Somewhat, but I would say too much low quality product is the bigger issue. Slow down and make better adaptation from the source material, and a superhero genre will work just fine for the long haul. So that's kind of what that's not kind of what I said. That's what I said.
That's kind of what I said.
No, that's exactly what I said.
Exactly what I said.
It's like, do I think there's superhero fatigue? To an extent, but I think it's more of a garbage fatigue. Frankly, it's just like, it's low quality fatigue where, there was a point where Marvel had everyone at bated breath for the next Marvel movie to come out, and then not only that, but what was the end trailer, the end credit scene going to be? And they've just put out so much so fast where there's just been, a lack of writing, a lack of direction, a lack of, quality in CGI. It's just like, the fatigue adds up pretty quickly when it's just all shit.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe a lot of it's reactionary to the pandemic with having to have content on Disney Plus.
Well, I think that's
maybe a lot of it's what's his name? Bob Chapek. We already know what the problems are, what the problems were over at Warner Brothers. We're talking,
Right.
talking about these guys right now, Marvel. I mean, Kevin Feige never used to. God, where I learned to see, didn't in the past didn't have to answer to anyone except for Bob Iger.
Right.
And Bob Iger gave him the carte blanche to do what he needed to do to make his movies, and he did well. Then you get Bob Chapek in the chair, and you get this little thing called Disney Plus, and then you get these tiers of management to make sure the continuity all fits together. Now Kevin Feige has to answer to a couple of different people, and he doesn't have all this creative control, and too many cooks are in the kitchen. I mean, look what they did with Spider-Man. It's on a bigger scale. It's what happened with the Spider-Man movies. They just kept getting more ridiculous as they went along because too many cooks in the kitchen, too many producers with their thumbs in the pudding.
Well, I think it turned it over to much more just business, where it's hey, hey, we're doing Disney Plus, and we need content. So they were like, oh, okay, we'll buy Marvel, we'll buy Lucasfilm, we'll buy Fox,
Right.
and now like we've spent billions of dollars here. Well, we need to start getting a return on it. So let's start cranking up the old meat grinder, and then they start grinding out shit. So because in the last phase 4, we've never had more Marvel content, and everybody now is like, yeah, phase 4 sucked on multiple levels. So
It didn't beckon me to return.
no, not at all. But yeah, Adam, let's talk about some fun stuff.
What's that Star Trek right there? Oh, okay. I thought it was toys.
That was me and Blue trying to watch Picard. Blue is in the way.
You know what grinds my gears about Star Trek toys? They're not in scale with my toys.
See, that's one of the biggest things people complain about with like McFarlane stuff. Be like, I wish they were 6-inch scale. I was like, I'm happy they're 7-inch scale and they're beyond, because the thing that always drove me nuts was when they make Bane, and Bane's the same size as Batman. I was like, no, you know what Bane is? He's like a foot taller than Batman, minimum. I don't know exactly, but
What are we gonna do about Bane?
what do you know about Bane?
Did you see that episode?
No,
You didn't?
no.
Oh my god. Best South Park episode ever. We got like 6. We all know what happens when like one Bane takes over the city. We got like 6 Banes. What are we gonna do about Bane?
Bane. So yeah, let's talk about some McFarlane stuff. So McFarlane, you evil genius, you, Adam. Everybody knows not all McFarlane toys are home runs, but you know, when you take some of the ones that don't sell as well and then you repaint them as the Joker or another character, be like, is that fair? Because it
No.
was just the Dark Knight detective or dark what I was like, oh, you clever bastard, you took a whole bunch of Batmans that didn't sell very well, you painted them as a Joker, and then you repackage and be like, the Jokerized line. I'm like, come on, bro.
Come on, man. The Joker
But
won again.
but all the people took the bait. They're like, oh, I gotta have that. Like,
If I had the money and if I had the place, if I had the space or whatever, there'd be a spot for that one. Yeah. I mean, but he's not on my list at all.
it's yeah.
And I'm gonna say this right now, that Dick Grayson Robin and that entire Titans line complicated things for me.
All right. So typically,
Fucking Roy Harper? Come on.
okay. We are big fans of the McFarlane lines here, but I'm gonna tell you, Adam, one of the big misses for me, and it's this one right here. I do not like this figure.
Really?
I do
Why?
not. He looks like a gargoyle. He looks like he looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. That's the vibes I get from this one. I was like,
Hmm.
I see that. I'm like, I'll take the Damian Wayne over that one right now. I don't something about it. Not a fan of.
It's Robin though. It's the original Robin.
I,
It's the
it's
face.
so, okay. So my issue is not here. It's not the body. This head, I do not like this head sculpt.
All right. Well,
To each his own.
to
That's
each
how I
his own.
feel
That's
about it.
cool.
So, but you're okay with it.
I'm looking at the head sculpt a little differently now that you pointed out. He does look a little Mad Magazine-y.
Yeah, I don't know. Not the biggest fan. I know some people were kind of comparing it to the Carrie Kelly one from
Well, it is the Carrie Kelly buck.
right. Well, so someone's done the whole thing where this is different. I mean, they've changed enough, but that's basically if you took Carrie Kelly body, pop that head on there, most people would have a hard time finding the difference. But
My custom Robin was not successful. I took the first appearance one, I popped the arms off, dremeled in the sides a bit, and I used the Carrie Kelly arms. Put the Carrie Kelly arms on it and the Carrie Kelly cape, and it looked a lot better. Actually, well, it's not up now, but it stands with the custom Batman you painted. So it's my custom Batman and Robin.
But anyway, so let's get to stuff that I do like. They are dropping so much 66 Batman stuff. Makes me happy. So you got I forget radioactive Batman. Golly, I miss the 60s. It's radioactive. We're gonna make his cowl.
Well, this was a plot from the Mad Hatter to get the Cape Crusaders cowls. So he figured if he radiated it and it was pink, he'd be forced to take it off or something like that. And they don't know what happened to the original pink cowl, I don't think. But this is how they made it. They just spray painted it pink.
Yeah. Like I said, I miss the 60s.
Yep, that's a whole episode. That's
we have our first.
Who is never in the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember him being in the show, but if you want to give me a 66 Two-Face, I'm okay with it.
Shatner did his voice in the cartoon movie with Adam West and Burt Ward a couple years back. I don't know if you saw those.
I did not.
They're good. They're good. It's the Return of the Caped Crusader or whatnot, and then some, yeah. But they're direct sequels to the 66 show.
So this one, yeah, I was like, you bastards. You did it again.
We don't even have to talk about it. It's
don't
purchased.
Have to talk about it. Yeah. Wayne Manor Library playset is available. Pre-order showcase for Batman 66 figures in the stately Wayne Manor includes sliding wall, the secret Batcave pull entrance, plus phone, statue lamp, desk, dresser, chair, and globe accessories. Son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the thing. All right.
The Bat Boat.
If we're getting a Bat Boat, we better be getting. Oh, did they announce that they're doing a Batcopter?
Not
If
yet.
they're doing a Batcopter. You know what we're getting? We're getting a freaking. We're getting a Batman with a shark on his leg.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Or we just need him with the giant, giant bomb. Oh.
Yeah, I'm so happy he keeps going though with the 66 line. I'm so happy that he keeps going. I mean,
love it. I love it so.
Me too. So yeah, it is the 66 line in Motu. I stand corrected what I said earlier. Not Motu Origins, Masterverse, but and then there's this stuff, man. I don't know what to fucking do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to get into the Flash stuff because I don't know. It's cool. They look great, but I think I can pass on these. This one, I'm not sure if I can pass on though.
I can pass on that one. Yeah,
that's a good looking figure there.
I can pass on it because of the Flashpoint stuff, but like I would want Impulse and I would want the gold version Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
just to build out my Justice League Unlimited, so to speak.
Yeah. So here's kind of a sneak peek what I was telling you about that Flash costume. So that's gonna be the one of the
Yeah.
first peeks at the figures there. It's got Kika.
No, that's Rocket.
Oh, I Rocket. So all right. So here is one of the things that all right, you could you you're with me or against me. No, it's not true. But I love this line, and I think of the line, this this is the gem of the line. And I think this is one of those figures that everybody's wanted for a long time. It's the Heath Ledger Joker. But I can't stand the build a figure, man. I can't stand it
Why not?
because it's just the average size Bane.
But that's all he was in the movie. I mean,
I
it's
know
a good Tom Hardy Bane.
it's a great Tom Hardy Bane, but you just put out a Bane that was scale accurate, just a monster of a man, and then there's Tom Hardy Bane. But the rest is, I mean, the line looks great. I just don't care for the build the figure sometimes. So
No, I know that's okay. You don't have to. I just if they made him giant, I'd be like, well, that's a bit ambitious.
right, but just make them a little bit bigger. But even the Two Face looks great.
Oh
This
God,
I don't.
this is
This I don't 100% understand.
was he that jazzed out in the movie?
That's what I said. I was like, what is this? Like, obviously, the hood, maybe parts, but I don't remember all this, Adam.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's Google image it. Let's see what he looks like. Scarecrow, Batman Begins. Scarecrow. All right. Bunch of pictures of Cillian Murphy here. Yeah, there's no real, not showing any.
Yeah, so because when they came out with that, I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Now in the Dark Knight, he does walk out and of that van, but he's got a suit on.
Well, that's how. That's kind of the trick part. Is like, are they going to throw him in a suit, or we're putting him in a big,
Burlap
straight jacket thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this was kind of the other like, okay. But this is the whole line all together, and like I said, I love Tom Hardy. I do. I like the mask and everything. I just like, ugh. So
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
put on. So Adam, I know this is one of the lines that you're gonna have a hard time with, and I know a lot of people are excited for this. So Donna Troy from the upcoming Titans Build a Wave line.
Can't believe it. Can't believe it.
Had
We got a good Donna Troy
Arsenal.
before we got a good Wonder Woman. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. And then I like this Nightwing too.
So do I. You passed that 66 up though. Go back real quick, buddy.
Yeah, I think what they really started doing with McFarlane is they just take I think this is from another page, and that
okay, so
they'll plug it. So this is not a set.
I thought that it was. I only saw it in passing while I was at work. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Because I did the same thing. I was like, "Oh, you sons of bitches!
You can't do this to me."
So, and then this one, I think this might be the gem right here. Is this?
Yeah,
Raven.
that thing's awesome.
Raven looks great. So, and this is all from DC Rebirth, and yeah, I think this is. I'm not as excited about Donna Troy and Arsenal, but these two here, the Nightwing and the Raven, look fantastic.
Oh, I'm mad about all four of them. Not mad, but crazy about them all. It's a build a figure wave though, right?
It is a build a figure wave, but they have not announced who the figure is. So let's take guesses. So DC Rebirth. It's either it can't be Cyborg, can it? Because they're already having a build a figure Cyborg for the Flashpoint line.
It could be Beast Boy.
I was gonna say it might be Beast Boy, which could be pretty interesting. Then, which form does he take? So
yeah,
pretty cool. So yeah, because that was one of the things they did just now. Let's see. stuff. I'll tell you what, man. If I see this in the wild, I'm getting this 12-inch Hush Batman.
Mm.
That might take a little repainting there, but that thing's pretty nice. I thought they had the other.
Oh, and Dead Man too. Did you buy Dead Man?
I've got Dead Man sitting right over here. That's a fantastic figure. I love it. So one of the things, Adam, we're switching gears here a little bit on you. Sorry. One of the things that just went up for pre-order today is the portal generator for the Ninja Turtles. I love this so much. This is NECA's. This is from NECA, and it just all the little bells and whistles that NECA puts into the details and stuff. I think they just absolutely crush it. And this is going to be up for pre-sale from the NECA store for the next 3 weeks. I think it's retailing at $45, and with shipping and handling, it's
that's not bad.
I say with shipping and handling the whole deal, it's going to cost you about $60, but that's pretty cool.
It's intense.
That's really cool, and that's one of those, like, I never thought that would be a thing. I'm just, you know what, Adam? You know what scares me? You know what scares me is when they're going to put out the Technodrome.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got a kink in my neck here.
Because if they put out the Eternia playset again, it's be like, well, we're just going to do the Technodrome.
I mean, that would be
you son of a bitch.
Well, what would you do? Would you try to crowdfund it?
You'd have to. That would be, because you'd have to do it to scale. That thing would be a monster. That thing would be as big as tall as Galactus and as wide as Galactus. And you'd probably be in the $500 to $600 range. So that'd probably be the only thing holding it back, would be how much that to actually do that figure or that playset right. Yeah, I think that would be the price range, maybe even higher, but 5 to 7 for sure.
Yeah, it'd be steep,
so,
but it'd be cool.
Oh, it'd be so cool. And then cool. One of the things that they did announce, Adam, you know what's really nice sometimes as a fan is when people listen to the fans.
Yeah, they fixed the curvature on this thing.
Crazy things. Yeah, and this is one of those things where I think for me it was not as big a deal, but the hump was the big deal, and it was much more pronounced. So they flattened the hump a little bit. They added a couple little things. Adam, God bless people, and I love fans, but so this was from a video from NECA, kind of going over things, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's going to have this and this, and it's going to have the headlights and the taillights," and even the guy doing the interview is like, "Headlights and taillights? I forgot it was going to have headlights and taillights." So when I posted this update on our Facebook, you guys like, it already was going to have headlights and taillights. I was like, thank you. It's like somebody might just want to be like, thank you. Yes, I was aware, but it's been so long, I forgot all the bells and whistles. But yeah, so this is one of the things that they fixed. So they fixed the hump, have the working headlights and taillights, plus a couple other mods. Bad news is it did get pushed back to Q3. It was supposed to come out during the first quarter. No price change for once, which is nice. But yeah, it's going to put, and I think, golly, I've seen this guy a few times. I can't remember his name, but I think he basically said another month or so, because it's actually it's in production, and it should be out early summer. So,
you got one, don't you?
On pre-order, yes.
Nice.
That's so far. That's the. Don't tell my wife. That's the biggest we've gone toy wise. So. Yeah, I passed. Don't tell my wife.
Hey, and your husband, by the way.
By the way, like Adam, I scorned Adam. Adam's like, "Hey, guess what, Mrs. Nick? Guess what?"
Mrs. Nick. You're gonna get in trouble for calling her Mrs. Nick if she ever watches this.
Yeah, she has better things to do.
Oh fuck! That reminded me just now of a story Kevin Smith told. He's like, so I asked my wife because she never listens. I go, why don't you listen to my podcast? I'm not your demographic, she says. He goes, I'm married to you. I'm totally your demographic.
As it turns out, not so much.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right, Adam. A couple other things. So, I'll see if I can find it real quick here.
What are you doing?
I'm looking. I am Googling things.
Nabbit's getting into stuff. He's playing with doors.
So I had a very good package arrive today. It's pretty. It arrived very oddly, and it's. My wife is funny, and she's just like, "You've got a package," and it's weird. I was like, "You got a package," and it's weird.
You
But,
got a package and it's weird.
I'll see if because one of the Facebook groups I'm in is Turtle Layer, and it's a really great Facebook page because they keep you really up to date on stuff if something's being released or if something got re-released. And I think they just do a fantastic job. And Lee is one of I think Lee's the main guy over there, but there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of makers over there, Adam, and they make a lot of cool stuff. And I'm trying to find if I can find the page real quick. I've bought a couple of things from this fella, and it's really good quality. It's really cool. But sometimes I think because I was like, oh, I can make this. And then I was like, I don't have time for this. But, so let's do this real quick. Pause this. All right. So I'm going to share this real quick and hopefully it shows up okay. All right. Adam, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So this is kind of like a play off the first, one of the first issues of Ninja Turtles. If not, might be the first. I'm not sure.
Excuse me. Sorry about that, folks.
But this is a recreation. And what you can do is you can put your turtles on these shelves right here.
I love it.
And guess what came in the mail today?
Oh, shit.
I had a couple, but I was able to find the rest.
Those are awesome.
So you can see why my package came in oddly shaped.
Okay. Yeah.
In, exactly so.
Okay.
Now, these are not the originals. These are not original NECAs. These are actually knockoffs, and they're actually pretty well-known knockoffs because they're actually really nice knockoffs because the original set cost about $1,000.
Oh, wow. That's
these
not a lot of money at all.
These are not.
Right.
So I've got a couple of them, but I couldn't find. I already had Donnie and Mike, but I couldn't find Leo.
Those are sweet.
They are fantastic. So
I love the look of the old turtles.
It's so good. I love that look. So if you're interested, I've got 2 spares. So if you want them.
I can't go down that rabbit hole, Nick.
All right. So I would say because I might put them up for sale on the turtle player there, see if anyone wants them. So when that comes in, gonna have a very cool display and definitely show that on the show.
So you did order the shelves.
Got the shelves on the way. Guys making it right now.
That's awesome.
So
you never displayed your turtle shell.
Which one?
Your turtle shell.
Did I not show that?
Not on the show.
Ugh. Moment, please. Yeah, so like I said, I bought another thing from this gentleman. His name is Mike Bell, and I believe he's actually active military. So he does this kind of on the side, and he's doing pretty well because he's got a bunch of stuff. Because he actually does a really good job of communicating what he's if you've ordered something, he kind of brings you into a group chat and kind of lets everybody know what's going on. So he does a great job of like, hey, this is what's going on.
Sure.
So it's not there. Thought I bought another thing from him. Now I see where my own photos are. Good Lord, Facebook, why are you making things so difficult on me? Oh. Where are you? Item? Where is it? My photos. Come on. Yeah, I can't find it right now. That's annoying.
Well, that's okay. What'd you do with it?
I
Not the
mounted.
picture, but like, what did you do with the
I mounted.
actual piece?
I mounted it on the. Oh, hold on, see if I can. Without showing too much here.
He escaped.
There you go. You can
Oh
kind of see it
wow!
on the right there.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, so it's a display, and I kind of used some of the mounting things creatively, if you will.
Yeah, that looks fantastic, dude.
But yeah, it lights up and the whole deal. It's very cool. So and it's like it's kind of one of those like, just here's my wallet, make cool things, give me money so I can pay my bills periodically, and then just whatever you want to make. Because he makes sewer lids, so that's obviously the shell design. He's got one that looks like sewers. You can get one that looks like the cartoon logo. You can get one that looks like the original comic logo. Uh, Mike Bell over in Turtle Air does a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff. So
Badass.
yeah. So all right. You're in the middle of movement, so you don't have anything to show, do you?
Nope. That's why the shelf behind me is you know, the last couple things. I got that Batmobile back there. See, there we go.
Oh yeah. So, but get to a couple things that I am reading though. So I did just finish this. I know I mentioned I read this in the last show, but I didn't have it with me. So Batman and Ninja Turtles, a lot of fun. They actually incorporate the two universes pretty cleverly, where they actually use some of the mutagen on like at Arkham, so you get to see like uh Mr. Freeze like kind of turns into like a polar bear and stuff like that. Where
Weird.
it's really weird, but it's really cool. It's like,
I can imagine the toy.
yeah,
I will put you on ice, turtles. The ice turtles. Nora. April.
yeah, because they actually turn Penguin into a penguin. Very clever. They reach deep on that
Yeah.
one. But they actually have Damian Wayne in it, so that's kind of fun.
Would be a weird like gender bend or whatever they do, gender swap. The penguin.
Mr. Freeze there as
Oh,
polar bear,
okay. I see him. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you got Bane as like a mammoth,
Yep.
and let's see what I Penguin's a cobra
A cobra.
or a snake, you know.
The penguin.
Oh, Joker, sorry.
I made him a
But,
penguin.
fun book. Go check it out. And then one of the nice things IDW does is they have these best of comics that they put out. One of the ones they put out was for Shredder, and it led me to this book, which is Ninja Turtle Shredder in Hell. That's just a really cool comic, and it's got fantastic art. I don't know if you can see that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the style of it.
I dig it.
It's really cool. And as far as new comics, I'm really getting into the Millarverse, Mark Millar's comics. First one I picked up was Nemesis Reloaded, and it's got art by Jorge Jimenez, and that it's just Jorge Jimenez is kind of top of the line right now, and his artwork is fantastic. And it's just there's something about reading a comic in like that 15 to 20 minute realm where it's like it's not complicated. it's just
Yeah.
it's just action. It just moves. The story moves, and it's just like sometimes like yeah. Sometimes you want to grab a graphic novel and dig deep into it. Sometimes you want to read a comic book and you want to just kind of want to be in and out 20 minutes, and that's what are kind of nice about these. So Nemesis Reloaded. I think issue 2 is supposed to be coming out soon. But another one that I checked out that I saw that the art looked really good on it too. Uh, but I heard also good things was Nightclub issues 1 and 2, and I think issue 3 is coming out. Adam, I know I did this earlier, but I'm going to do it for the show. There's this crazy little thing up here in the corner.
I know, right?
That's the price. Mind you, this is a brand new comic book. This is a brand new series. It's not 30 years ago. This isn't a 30-year-old book. This is a new comic book. And one of the things that I did hear that Mark Millar was going to do, he's going to keep the price of his books down. God bless you, Mark Millar, because if you're paying for a top end DC, I don't get into Marvel that much, but you're going to pay the $7 to $8, $9, $10 range. Good fun
What?
story.
I thought it was $4.99 a book now. It's more than that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, like the One
That's
Fine
nuts.
Day books, those are $8, $8, $9 books.
For what? A bad story? One bad story?
Yes, and people who are being honest are wondering why the Western comic industry is in trouble because you're paying too much, you're not getting very good stories, and people are piecing out. They're like, "Oh, hey, look at this manga stuff."
I will read that Tom King story, Supergirl, now because now now, here's what intrigues me: the Flash, everything we had to say earlier about what they did with Kara in the Flash movie. Well, what are they going to do now? Because to me, it seems like Supergirl's like a no-brainer. They even missed it in the show. Like, she remembers Krypton. Roll with that. You know?
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I'm very much I like.
So what
I
is
like
that Mark Millar book about?
Okay, so the main character, Danny, he is a content creator. So he's Daredevil. He's trying to get more likes and whatever. So he's doing all these crazy stunts, fails, breaks his back, ends up in the hospital. So what happens? Vampire turns him because his vampire is trying to start an army, and what he does is he goes to hospitals for people who are either terminally ill or paralyzed, or basically where their life is not safe. They're not in the best condition of life. And so he turns them and he's like, "Hey, you want to be in my army?" They're like, "Yeah, okay," or not, whatever, go sit in the sun. But it's classic vampire stuff where, yeah,
Well, I didn't know that.
no sunlight, no crucifixes. It plays by all the rules. And then so they can go. So Danny's like, "Cool, I'm totally down with being a vampire," and he turns his friends, and so they can actually go and fight crime during the day by wearing the luchador mask. And it's kind of funny because the actual the luchador mask actually kind of look very Spider-Man-ish.
Yeah.
So there's lots of that, but just a fun book, man. Just I picked up, I'm like, got to breeze through it that 15-20 minutes. I was like, that was fun. So first two issues, really liked. I'm gonna put on the poll list. So
Awesome, man. Awesome. I might check that out.
It $2.
Yeah,
$2.
can't go wrong. So
Other than that, what else you got, Adam?
I think that I'm out of gas. I'm sorry, America and
no,
Tokyo.
I say that we're pretty much at where we're supposed to be. So
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up. So Adam, if you want to check out what we're talking about on the show, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you are more of a podcast person, we are on all the major podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts. So, other than that, anything else for the people?
Good night, Planet Houston. Planet Houston. I should take speech therapy. No, man. Just stay nerdy.
Good night, America.
Good night.